He went to the gym. We were kind of texting back and forth throughout, which is what we normally did. I was trying to get ready to go to bed. It was getting kind of late, like pushing midnight. I called him and someone from the emergency room answered his phone.
I put the kids to bed, and she had some work to do, so that's when I typically would go to the gym at night. And then I pretty much don't remember anything after that. Lost 16, 18, maybe about close to 3 weeks of memory.
And the doctor just explains to me that he was at the gym. He was doing some sort of workout. Squats is what we were told after the fact, and he went into sudden cardiac arrest. The nurses there really took care of me just as much as they did him. They, they held my hand, they cried with me, and they prayed with me, and that was definitely the worst part, the first few days, because we just didn't know. I didn't know, like, if, I was gonna have to raise my kids alone. It was just, sorry.
The anxiety that I had the most of dealing with, I had guilt that this is what my family's dealing with now, and this is what I'm dealing with. Anxiety of I wouldn't get to grow old with her. I wouldn't get to see my kids grow up, graduate high school, fall in love, and get married. Those things really hit home when I got home from the hospital.
So I thought that was a fake ribbon, so I tried to cut through it, and that's why we're laughing. It was actually a real ribbon.
Cake all on mommy's face.
That's
one of my favorite pictures of your mommy.
And I decided at about 32 to really start taking better care of myself, because heart disease runs in my family, and I didn't want to put my kids and my wife in the same position that my parents and I were in growing up. At 32, I started doing yearly physicals, taking better care of myself. And it was shocking to wake up and being told your heart stopped. And you don't know why it stopped, and never found out why, it just happened.
I'd say something that really, really helped was that the community and the hospital staff, everyone just really surrounded me and my family with so much love. His story was just reaching everywhere.
The biggest takeaway for me is just embrace your loved ones, and just, it put a lot of perspective into me that I don't want to be without her or my kids.
You have to really realize that you have a special privilege now that other people don't have. You have a special privilege that you know what it feels like to almost have everything taken away from you in an instant. And I think it's really made us appreciate each other more, and it's made us appreciate our family and our friends and people around us. It's really just given us a new kind of take on how we look at everything. I think one of the biggest things that impacted me, was CPR education. He was saved by high schoolers or, kids that had just graduated high school. They were trained in CPR in school. And they knew what to do because of that. And I think for us, obviously, because CPR is the number one reason why he's alive. He wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for CPR.
It baffles me that 3 teenagers learned CPR not long before they had to put it to use. And the fact that the American Heart Association wants to further that education and make that education available to more people means a lot to me.
The biggest reason why anybody should support the Heartball, the American Heart Association, is because you just never know when your family member is going to be the one who's faced with this. You want to be prepared. You want to make sure that everyone, whoever comes in contact with your family member, is prepared. The force that is to know that if something were to happen anytime, anywhere, that there's going to be someone who's going to know what to do and who's not going to be afraid to do it is so important, because the education and the push towards that and the funding that they provide, it's so important to be able to give that to the community and to be able to provide the education, because you just never know when it's going to be you or someone you love that's affected by it.